All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday to everyone. And as always, welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is July 19th, 2022. Market saw sort of a intraday reversal yesterday. We had a little bit of a resistance test on the NASDAQ. And that excuse me, trying to get over a mild cough here. We had an intraday reversal yesterday. NASDAQ was testing its daily resistance, and the S&Ps were kind of driven down by some news that occurred inside of Apple. A little bit of a slowdown in hiring practice, along with some maybe some cushioning or expectation for what is to come next week in regards to Apple's earnings. So market was starting off the session on a gap up open. Things were kind of balanced near some of those resistance points. And then of course we saw the sell-off that occurred intraday. Markets on these types of reversals, when you can see them go through previous ranges, previous intraday ranges or balance zones, kind of tells you how serious the reversal is itself. And the market certainly pulled down deeper than quite a lot of people expected, almost getting to test Friday's lows before seeing some short covering into the close. We're looking at the SPX expected move this week, it's notable to see the size of an intraday range relative to our expected move this week. Remember that the market's really only pricing about 88 points of movement from Friday's close, and yet yesterday's session was in line, if not larger, than that entire price range. So volatility is certainly kind of hitting us more on the intraday time frame. We're still within our expected move bounds, but ultimately the size of our price action is higher than what the market is probably pricing according to Friday's price. So a couple of notes on the S&Ps this morning for some intraday trade ideas. Given the size of yesterday's retracement, I would say that the market's probably looking back at the CPI highs as an area to defend. We saw a little bit of interaction with that price level this pre-market. You can see that the CPI high is providing short-term resistance. And we'll kind of see if the morning open interacts with this level once again, or if we're going to kind of reclaim it immediately. That would, of course, maybe set the stage for a back test, just getting back into that bullish trend and obviously resetting what was previously there before yesterday's reversal. But for now, interaction with this level should be thought of as resistant. We're going to wait and see if the market wants to try and break this level with some conviction and ultimately return back into an uptrend on shorter time frames. Obviously, hourly uptrend has been lost, and hence why I'm looking at some key levels to consider fading or possibly profit taking on long attempts that are a bit lower in price. We can also look at our 4-hour and just say that the most likely scenario here is a 4-hour lower high. Now that lower high can set up another higher low in the future, but the size of this drawdown kind of sets the stage today that we should be looking for some defense of lower resistance levels. And if that does not occur, the bulls have to basically reprove a couple of established levels as support. So these are all things to think about today. I think the NASDAQ resistance is much more clear, at least on the daily. We're not near that price. We were yesterday, and we did double top on the intraday, but approximately 296 on the QQQ ETF is our key daily level to watch. We're still getting basically higher lows on the drawdowns, Hence why I'm kind of keeping a trend line in case we do sell off further. Might be some short-term reactions near this trend line. And if you're kind of looking for a price level to keep an eye on, I'd probably be watching close to 285. And that would be, of course, if we sell off further in the next couple of days. So tightening ranges across the market. As the title suggests, we try and break out, we fail. This is always kind of the case when you're trading into a breakout point. It's somewhat on edge, and especially when you can't actually even clear the level, you always have to be watching out for larger reversals as bulls start to stop out against the rally. Excuse me. So, couple of things I brought up yesterday. They also had intraday reversals. HYG, this is our high yield corporate debt ETF. We saw a little mild breach and then a full retracement back inside of our trading range. For now, this type of setup leads me to think that the lows might be retested. And this is just kind of your classic if-then scenario of if we try to break out and fail, we often return to the low end of a trading range. This range, fairly well established on the daily time frame, I would argue maybe where the exact support might be, somewhere around 73.20s. If I'm looking at some of the swing lows, but ultimately, if you fail one side of a range, you often go to the other side. This is just classic balance rules, but it's also classic range trading rules. If you have clear rejection on either end, you almost always target the opposite side, and you're looking for some mid-range if you're looking for conservative targets. So in this case, if I were drilled into this range, VPOC is fairly low inside of the price level range itself. And what that means is if we are returning to VPOC, it actually is more advantageous to short the high, simply because your distance is much more advantageous. A long, of course, has to deal with the fact that if they're catching a knife or catching the low of the range, they might actually stall out at VPOC. And of course, it could easily break down because we are still in a downtrend. You know, big picture, this is a downtrending market. So, interesting reversal yesterday. It's just noting some new techniques and tools that we've been trying to add into the show. The dollar, another big focus for the market. I think the rally for now has stalled out, and I've marked two key levels that are historic levels for the dollar index. If I pull it back max month, these levels should be fairly clear in regards to a collapse of a previous uptrend, the first pullback, at least on the monthly time frame, and then the second wave of selling, which of course was much steeper. This is your classic three-wave distribution. For those familiar with some of that aspect, you could actually see this pretty clear in things like the Bitcoin chart, but often markets that are distributing at the highs will have high volatility. They'll break trend, and then the first pullback is one of those areas to consider for a follow-through wave or a full distribution wave, much lower than what the trend break would have you believe. Anyway, classic sort of technical analysis, but I think these levels are still in play. You can notice that the high so far on the dollar coincides with the high of our monthly pullback. Very, very clear within a couple of cents. We also have the current trend, which is cup and handle breakout. We had our measured move at about 110, and we're pulling back into our neckline. So at this moment, I'd probably watch and see what happens. We're still in a daily uptrend. We're just topping out of the extension. And so far, we're pulling back to our neckline support. Easily could defend here. We could get bounces, just shorter term play. And the dollar could easily stabilize anywhere between these levels. If we've seen the top, at least in the moment, breaking trend is going to take a while. it's obviously going to take us pulling down and probably breaking through at least the 20-period moving average. If I were looking at downside targets from a price level perspective, I think once again, I would be looking at our monthly chart and just noting where the swing low is on the monthly. If you'll notice, some of our swing highs coincide with this level as well. So it's almost as if the market's responding very clearly to a pre-established price. This is very notable TA because it kind of anticipates moves that we've already seen and potentially a move that we're about to see. So as we kind of wait to see what the neckline support does on the shorter time frame, the dollar weakness here is putting some interesting behavior inside of certain markets. For one, gold and silver. They've obviously been hurt with regards to dollar strength. They've collapsed a lot of their larger level supports that have been in play for quite a while. Coming back to longer time frame supports, at least with gold, we do have some levels on the monthly. My line keeps moving, but it's somewhere around 1700. And you compare that with silver, broken down much further, but it showcases that as the dollar's been rallying, metals have been taking it pretty much on the chin. If the dollar were to top out, we might get some reactionary lows here. So if you are playing metals, whether you're short into this dollar strength or maybe looking to get engaged with a neutral, possibly long strategy, I'd be watching the dollar pretty closely. This downtrend could stabilize based solely on the dollar stopping its rally. And that alone might be advantageous for premium selling, might also be advantageous for some longer term positioning if you're looking to get engaged with any of these metals. It also is bringing back into focus a little bit of crypto. Now, crypto has a couple of catalysts going on right now. Some of them are focused specifically on mergers with regards to the Ethereum project and the Ether token. This has been kind of carrying some of the alt market. But we also have tokens like Matic, which have gotten catalysts in regards to companies using their blockchain and their project as part of integration, looking forward into the crypto future. That's all well and good for some of this rally that we've seen. I was going to bring up the Matic chart, but it's kind of doesn't really matter for the discussion right now. What I will say is, as a healthy retracement here, a lot of the crypto charts are simply coming off of some oversold. We definitely had a lot of reactionary lows as things like Bitcoin were testing 2018, 2017-ish highs, basically previous halving cycle highs. This is also getting a little bit of a boost. The market cap as a whole in crypto has cleared right around 1 trillion. This is kind of a key inflection for the total market cap for all of crypto. But all in all, this picture is not great in regards to stability. I think overall, if you're looking at crypto, probably want to keep things on longer time frames. And conceptually, if you're trading crypto, you want to use these events to either bolster your portfolio, maybe to get more cash into it if you're successfully trading around these ranges, along with considering positioning for future potential. Crypto right now kind of has that look of questionability. And while there has been some short covering, Mara and Riot saw some really nice rallies yesterday as they were breaking swing highs. A lot of this can be short-lived. And remember that, chasing these moves leads to a lot of risk. We need to think about the size from a percentage perspective of these rallies. This is something that most people don't talk about in terms of percentages here, but when things get this low in price, percentage movement actually matters a ton. because if you look at just how far this rally has gone, for example, in Riot, this is a 73% rally. It's gone from about 4 to almost 7. So yeah, this has rallied a lot, but it's also potentially overextended into the rally, even though it is currently still uptrending. So watch out for chasing. Watch out for thinking that the risk level is low relative to the price. Percentage movement is going to become more important as these stocks are recovering and even as these asset classes are recovering as well. I've actually had to put some thought into that because obviously the drawdowns in crypto has been high. It's going to take a long time for those to potentially recover if they ever do. And when you think about percentage movement, there are short-term opportunities that are just as advantageous as what we saw during the bull run, but they have profit targets. You have to be able to sell into those moves and basically lock in your profit with the concept that this is an uncertain time for both crypto and equity markets as a whole. So just a little bit of kind of caution. Someone who maybe engages with crypto, I kind of take a little bit of err on the side of caution, but rallies are rallies. Take advantage of them when you see them, but understand they can be short-lived and they can easily fail. They don't have to stabilize before coming back into where they came from. Basically, unfortunately, they're called pump and ups, but basically it's a rally that comes back in. It's just a range breakout that pulls into support. Okay, so let's look at Apple. This was part of the reversal yesterday. We have a clear resistance level to be looking forward to any sort of resistance or tests in the future. Approximately 151. Let me grab the actual level here. I would argue that our high was 151.74. Apple got to about 151.57, so 3 cents above resistance before we saw the dramatic selling yesterday. Another thing to kind of watch out for is inside of this range, there's a pretty high gravity point around 150. It's not going to show with something like VPOC on a volume profile, but anyone who's intraday traded Apple knows that 150 is challenging. It goes into 150, it'll stabilize around 150. And yesterday was a bit anomalous because we cut through 150 very quickly and saw a pretty significant sell-off. All of this is kind of leading into our earnings next week. Apple, of course, being our largest market cap name in the entire S&P, but more so for this week, we're starting to get into some larger market movers. I bring up Netflix more for its volatility, less for its current market cap. And then we have Tesla, which is coming up tomorrow afternoon. So for those trading around earnings this week, remember, key strategy around earnings for the most part is to be looking for expected move, and whether you're playing inside expected move or outside, understanding what the risk profile of your asset looks like relative to previous earnings. It's obvious that Netflix is in focus because the last 2 earnings have been very exciting types of moves. We've seen massive breaches of expected move on the magnitude of 3 to 4 times outside of what the market priced. That has led to these very catalytic sell-offs and ultimately something that you can play on the intraday time frame and into earnings. For now, and this will change throughout the day, Netflix is pricing in about $30 of expected movement. On yesterday's close, it was trading about 190. We're looking at a slight rally to maybe 195 this morning. So when you look at the option chain, you look at the expected move. If you're someone who trades around earnings, be extremely cautious of any sort of undefined risk in a particular asset like Netflix. Should be fairly obvious why. It's hard to defend even a mild breach of expected move, you know, based on how much premium you're collecting as a net seller. It's even harder to defend something that is 2 to 3 times outside into the open. And that's where a lot of people can get trapped into certain types of positions. They can obviously take on massive amounts of risk for what is equivalent to a normal trade, you know, a relatively defined trade in their trading strategy. So if you do go out to sell premium, just make sure it's defined. It's very easy to do that. If you're selling any sort of straddle or strangle, be sure to close it up on either side by buying back something out of the money that allows you to define that risk. Even if it is something that's larger than the risk you'd be willing to take, it's better than it being undefined. Also remember that you don't necessarily need to sell the Friday series. This is where the earnings is the most elevated, but there's plenty of premium out in further series that the earnings will start to decay or basically contract. You know, usually when you see earnings, you can actually go out 2 to 3 series, still considering selling straddles or strangles, sort of those undefined plays, or just taking advantage of normal premium collection strategies. You'll also notice that if you look out 2 to 3 weeks, the expected move right now is close to what is expected this week. And that's because the IV is so high in this current series. It's basically going to be a high risk trade, no matter how we play it. Another way to consider this is you don't have to be a seller. You can obviously buy for something that's going to be larger than expected. Questionable whether we're going to see something, you know, a third time. The market sometimes will do things twice. The third time usually comes back in. It's a little bit more stable. So a third earnings where we get a sigma, 2 to 3 times sigma breach, that would be kind of hard to envision, especially to the downside, because that would imply that Netflix would be trading around 130 to 100 by the end of Friday. Could happen. Obviously, that would be a big dramatic event like we've seen before, but the IV is trying to price in a large move, regardless of if it's outside of it or not. $30 is a lot for Netflix, especially at these prices. So be careful out there, no matter what you're doing. Define risk on earnings trades. I think that's just a good general rule of advice. And look and see what the market's pricing. Not every earnings trade should be thought of the same. Some of them are more risky. Some of them have other dynamics in play simply based on what the market is doing for the trade. And then for today, we have a couple of earnings that have already come out. One in focus is IBM. This one released this morning. I'll take off this study here. You'll notice how we closed at about 138. We had a little bit of a spike into the announcement itself, and then we're trading at about 130 right now. When you look at the expected move, IBM was pricing about 7.5 to $8 on yesterday's close. And if I look at what the at the monies are based on yesterday's close, that's in line. Yeah, and at the money straddle is about 7.5 to $8. So IBM's kind of in line with his expected move currently for Friday. If it stays around 130, it can kind of stabilize here. We also have Halliburton. This one's a little bit lighter, I believe, in option trade. It's still okay, but it's a little lighter. It's not going to have a ton of interest. Only about a $2 expected move. And so far, outside of maybe the earnings call itself, I'm not seeing a lot of volatility here. So this one might be a secondary today if you are watching some earnings stocks. I also saw that Ally was reporting. This is not one that I was watching, mostly because of its option market. It's hard to get an idea of expected move when you don't have weeklies. And just looking at this series here, this still has 31 days of premium. The one that potentially expired a couple of days ago, maybe last Friday, um, would have been a better gauge had earnings been released this week. But this is a little too far out to really do anything with. So I'd mostly play the price activity and the technicals on Ally. And let's see, is that pretty much it? Outside of this afternoon, where things are really going to heat up, I think we got all the heavy hitters to this morning. We have J&J as well. That's the one I was forgetting. As I mentioned a couple of times, J&J is a pretty big component of the healthcare sector. We saw UNH report last week, fairly positive performance in its earnings movement. J&J looks like nothing's really happening right now, and about a $5 expected move. So kind of compare that with your close, kind of see if there's anyone trading around 170, 180. Yeah, you see a little bit of higher OI around 180. But for a stock like J&J, $5 is not a ton. You'll have to find something maybe on the intraday to tighten up that risk if you are playing towards one of those price levels. Similar to other stocks, this did fall yesterday like the rest of the market. It's falling into a notable inflection level on J&J. From a technical sense, this is a level that's been in place for quite a while. 173.65 would be the spike high. And we've seen a lot of interaction around this level. So it's interesting to see it trade here at earnings. But it is one of those stronger stocks in the market. I mean, when you look at the S&P down 25%, and J&J is only down approximately, let's see here, about 6 or 7%. It's one of those stabler stocks in the market, similar to UNH, which did have a strong reaction and is also up much better than most stocks in the market. So just building that case that healthcare might be something to consider and watch. Obviously, there's going to be volatility in between, but technicals and some of the stability of the stocks is what's more important. So, okay, I think that's all the time I have today. Lots to focus on, and we'll keep kind of reiterating some of these points as we get into earnings. I don't know if I called out. Oh yeah, I did. I did call out high yield corporate debt reversal as well, coming back into its range. Haven't been looking at yields too much. The bond market, for the most part, is kind of stalled out. Not a lot of notable reaction so far. Still kind of thinking that we're looking at some possible topping structures here with the overextension and the possible trend changes in the future. We're just kind of waiting to see if TLT proves it. I think some of us are positioned in some bond trades that may or may not have more follow through. We're just kind of watching to see what happens next. So with all that said, my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, where we mark off some additional levels, talk about our earnings a bit more, and obviously get into the market a little bit deeper. So trade safe, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
There we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everybody's having an amazing morning. I hope you guys had an incredible weekend. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good.
Good.
Um, Let me just make sure here I mute YouTube so you guys are not getting any echo. There we go. Perfect. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's take a look at some of the stuff we had in play yesterday. But before we do that, let's give Jerry a big thumbs up for engineering the markets Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. And let's take a look at some of the stuff we had on our watch list yesterday, starting with plug. So a lot of stuff in the green again today. But if you were trading yesterday, you saw many of these things started ended up red. Some of them, which just had a really nice sell off. Given the way the SPY traded yesterday. So plug pretty much. Let's go back to yesterday's action. 5 minute. As you can see here, hold on. Oh, sorry, I got you guys on the wrong screen here. Let me move this over to here. 5 minute down here. There we go. That's the one you're seeing. So right over here, guys, the plug actually traded very decent. I mean, it had a questionable pre-market activity, and I almost took it off my list. But it actually did okay. It had a nice little breakout here. As soon as the market open happened, it did break out of some levels in the pre-market high as well, and not bad. Too big of a back a pullback here, right? So it's too aggressive. It did continue to get back towards the all-time highs. I mean, high of the day there, but it did struggle to get going after that. But again, nice start to the open. Didn't do much midday, and then later in parts of the afternoon, 1 p.m., you start getting the sell-off, which we saw in many tickers, right? Just kind of the SPY kind of taking over and dropping this thing here. So that was pretty nice there. Many opportunities when it came to the sell down towards the end of the day. GS, I had a little bit of hope on this one, but again, it's just so difficult to trade, guys. Sold off the entire day, but the price action was just not clean. You could have scalped this for the break here at the market open and maybe a short, but you have to be very patient. Look how long this thing takes to actually do something. So again, just it's not one of our best intraday trading stocks, as we know. BA struggle at the morning, just continuing to overlap each other here. So opened up every candle overlapping the previous one. Finally broke down there, started to sell off, and then in the later parts of the afternoon, we saw some clean sell-offs on many of the tickers that we had. They're up 1.2 today. We'll see how that's going to end up. Here's Netflix. I'm not Netflix. Nvidia showing a lot of strength at the open, all the way to 168, guys. This thing opened up at 162. So again, just a lot of strength there. You have several opportunities to play this long, and then around 1 o'clock, we have this sell-off that was very aggressive. Unfortunately. So again, a couple opportunities there that you can take advantage of throughout the entire day. Just the volatility continues. If you look at AMD, is very similar to what happened with Nvidia. I mean, if you put them together, you can really see how similar they traded there, and it's basically was following the overall market. Right, the market sold off here. It was very aggressive and it pulled a lot of stocks down. So, and Oxy was the last one on the list. I didn't really pay much attention to Oxy. So, and probably the reason why, because it didn't do much, right? If you look at it here, I don't think it was the one that was greatly in play. Mara yesterday did trade very well, and I knew this thing. Yesterday was going to be the day that it could have done something nice. I saw a lot of great trades from you guys there that watched Mara. Unfortunately, I did not see this in time. But man, what a beautiful breakout, all the way from 880 all the way up to $11. And not only clean, but also again gave you some good opportunities to jump on this trade. Break of the high there, 5 minute opening range breaker. Just very clean overall trading on Mara yesterday. So that is what we had, guys. Let's go over to our market pulse and see what's happening today with the overall market.
Yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, not a whole lot of economic data out this week. The only thing that we have today really is building permits and housing starts. Not surprising. Those are coming back a little bit from the numbers that we've had recently. One of them was a little bit more than expected. One of them a little bit less, but pretty much in line. Nothing too crazy there. I apologize. My dog is a little crazy this morning and was whining while you were doing that. I was muted, but if there starts to be dog noise, I apologize in advance. Yeah, as you said, we had that sell off yesterday. Some of that was sparked by Apple um, talking about smartphone shipments and cutting costs and slowing of hiring and stuff. So amongst other things. We'll see how that plays out in those tickers. Of course, we've got the semis in the news with some potential government subsidies to go and help bolster that industry in the country. So we'll see how those play out as well. And we're in earnings season. No real exciting earnings this morning. So
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think in this afternoon we have a couple that might be one on Netflix is going to be a whole lot of fun to watch that one, and then tomorrow we
this
got
evening,
Tesla.
but this morning's kind of a dud.
Yeah, yes, nothing going on this morning. Tesla is tomorrow morning or in the afternoon? Where's Tesla? Evening.
Tesla's after the Tesla should be after the close.
Yeah, yep, it is. All right, guys, let's see what we have here this morning, starting with our gappers list. Let's remove the stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X gets rid of that. And let's go ahead and take a look at our gappers list. So right now, WFG is leading the way here, up 27% this morning. Let's see what we got going on here. Wow,
this is a big nothing, man. This is a Canadian lumber company. I can't really find any news on it. This is very thinly traded. About 400,000 shares a day on average. I haven't seen anything, but that looks suspiciously like a buyout to me.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very scary to get into a trade or look at something that only has 383,000 shares traded, and it already has moved from 84 to 102, the high of 108, 107 here. So I don't see how this is tradable if it continues that way. APLS, let's take a look here.
This one, turn your gain up just a little bit, brother.
Yeah, is it down?
Your level's a little bit low. Yeah.
Let me see here. I will turn this up a little bit.
There you go. That sounds better already.
There, is that better? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Bring the mic a little closer as well. So I'm clipping now. See, okay, APLS. This is another one here that doesn't look good. Neither 244,000. Again, just very not trading well at all. So I don't like stocks that do this. And actually, this one we've seen in the past. It's not a great intraday trading stock. Very light on volume. It's been on our gappers list before. So nothing good there.
This is a biotech that had some FAA acceptance of priority review for a geographic atrophy. I don't even know. That sounds like your body falls apart by living in a certain area of the country. I think it has to do with your eyes, but I'm not 100% sure. So.
Yeah, not looking good, pre-market guys. I love the fact they're up 20%, but it's just can it get better in the intraday? Absolutely, after the bell. But right now, let's skip on that. NCR this morning, man, what is going on with this gappers list? NCR, another one up almost 10%, 314,000, and just this is a crappy stock, man. This is. I don't even know. Let's move down. Let's go down to Mara. So Mara actually traded very clean yesterday. Their daily's looking a little more alive here. You got a couple of beautiful breakouts happening, so that is nice. Can this continue? Can it change the way it has been trading in the past here? So we're up 5.3 here, 540,000. Given what we've seen so far, this stock looks amazing. So far, the gappers list. This looks great. Mara all day, guys. So Mara is on the list, up 5.3. No, it doesn't. It looks like Bitcoin's up this morning, right? I mean, we got Riot, we got Coin here as well, up this morning quite a bit. So pick your favorite. I think Mara did so well yesterday. I'm hoping that can continue today. Towards the downside, we have IBM. They reported. I know they're on the list. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. Brutal stock.
I think IBM, man, it's just in my book a terrible intraday trader. But yeah, they reported. I don't think their numbers were too bad, but I think it was some of their cash flow estimates moving forward and things of that nature. So
okay.
We'll see how it plays out.
All right, so IBM guys. Again, I'm not a fan of IBM neither, guys. The gap down looks beautiful here towards some of these levels, but again, they're just not ideal. I'll throw them out as a possible. I haven't looked at them in a while, so I'd like to see, what their price action is like, but definitely not one that I'm going to expect anything great out of. All right, let's take it to the room. But before we do that, Norm, do you have anything on deck that you like this morning?
I'll throw out 3 for you this morning.
Excellent.
NVIDIA, AMD, those both go to the CHIPS Act that I believe is being voted on today, should be voted on today, that we were talking about a minute ago with semiconductor subsidies, and then Boeing, BA. There's still some activity going on around. We spoke about the air show yesterday and some sales they were doing. So there's rumor of a big order coming from Qatar Airways.
Nice. Yeah, BA had a nice pop yesterday. Sold off because of the market, of course, but yeah, they did very well yesterday on the gap up here. We'll throw BA on deck as well. And let's take it to the room and see what you guys have this morning. NVIDIA and AMD are looking so nice this morning too, and their daily also looking very good as well. All right, let's see what you guys have this morning on our room. I see a couple of you guys throwing out KOLD. Nathan, Mr. T. What is KOLD? I think this is a crazy
that is
stock,
a
right?
nat gas ETF, short leveraged. I believe it's triple leveraged.
Yeah. Actually, you got to be very careful with this, guys. I mean, I haven't traded ETF like this one in a very long time. I don't plan to today neither. Definitely in play, very active right now. Up 6.2, 1 million shares traded. Again, just be very careful. So I will add it to my list. But if that's your thing, if that's your style, then you could definitely do it on your list there. All right, let's see what else we got. NVIDIA is good, guys. Looks nicer than AMD. Yeah, NVIDIA has been putting in a better pre-market activity lately, right? But we've seen AMD trade very well in the pre-market. Today's not as beautiful as we've seen in the past, or as clean or as active. But still, they're still a great trader. Not a fan of IBM. Might have missed it if you already talked about it.
Yeah,
Ryan,
correct.
yeah, that's exactly the case. We have it here as a possible because I just want to see how it's going to trade today after the bell. But again, they can trade very choppy. Their volume overall is very light. You can see down here, even on days when they move quite a bit, 13 million is like the high end of the volume they trade. So for $130 stock, it's just, they don't move well. So, but who knows? Today they have earnings from last night. They're gapping down quite a bit here. They're hitting some levels. There might be some opportunities on this, So there might be some opportunities. It's a coin flip as to whether NVIDIA or AMD trades better depending on the day. Yeah, I could agree with that.
Trade differently.
Yeah, they trade differently.
Even if they're kind of similar, they have different personalities. I'll put it that way.
I'll tell you this much: when NVIDIA is in play, it's cleaner than even Apple at times. It can trade very well, but they're, for the most part, they're more choppier than Apple is, and so forth. So Apple this morning might be a good one. They're 1 million shares traded, pretty much flat right now. Their daily had a beautiful breakout here, got messed up yesterday. But let's see, man. Hopefully we're not going back down to this range and the SPY. I'm hoping that we can continue to stay above 380 here. Jair was talking about this in the morning, how important this level is. You can see how many times we have been dancing around this thing, and trying to break out of 390 has been an issue for us. So hopefully we can get above that, man. That would be great, or at least stay above. I don't want to come back down to this range down here, right? So let's hope we can stay up there. What else, guys? Oh, for the trade, CCL this morning. Let's take a look at that one. Then we'll look at Fabio throwing out a few more there as well. CCL this morning, I mean, I don't think they're really in play, man. 381,000, up 2%. It just doesn't look good pre-market right now. So they're trying to hold here. Obviously, great base here off of 850. Just right now at the moment, not looking all that great. Fabio's giving us Tesla and Amazon. Let's take a look at those two. Tesla this morning. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has done that mistake of bringing the fake Tesla up and trading or something. Here is Tesla flat at the moment, not doing a whole lot, pretty quiet right now. Speaking of Tesla, what is Twitter doing? Same, not doing a whole lot at the moment. Very quiet. Their daily has had a nice bounce of 30. Was this 32? Look at that bounce over the last couple of days back to 39, right? So that is interesting. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon today, yeah, it's pretty quiet, guys. Again, I'm just not seeing anything that says this needs to be on our main list, right? Just not much going on here. Very light on volume. 238 for Amazon. We've seen how much volume they trade. This is nothing, right? The stock is trading around 60 million a day now. So again, this is not a lot pre-market. All right, guys, pretty thin pickings today. We had a good day yesterday. Many stocks to trade. Today's looking a little light. Jared's giving us AMC. Are we memeing on AMC today? Oh, daily looks nice on AMC. And the volume seems to be getting going here. So we have 413,000 right now. Yeah, this could be interesting, and it's setting up against the 1695. Yeah, Jerry, I think this is up to something. Let's put it on here. Again, riskier stock to trade, guys. Be very, very careful with this thing. As you guys know, we've seen it throughout since it started memeing back 2 years ago already. Has it been 2 years? This thing can be very aggressive. So, all right, cool. What else we have? I think we're pretty much set right now. We can always come back later and see if anything else populates in our gappers list. I see the list getting a little bit bigger, but we looked at some of these already. AMC, we looked at CCL. How is usually not a great trader, and I'm not seeing anything great right now neither. And we'll look at last one here from Anthony, J&J, and then we'll go to announcements. J&J this morning. Unless there's any news and you expect to get volume, this is not really doing a whole lot. It does have a big
earnings this morning.
They did.
J&J generally trades like garbage.
It does, man. They need even with earnings, they need a big catalyst. Like when they had the issue with the powder, that was a big catalyst. That had a lot of volume and you have movements. But unless something big like that, J&J could be tough. Could be really, really tough. So, and even when they're in play, you just got to know how to trade that stock. They trade weird, right? They don't trade as clean as you would like. All right, we are set, guys. Let's take a look at our community events and announcements. We will come back and fine-tune this list. Not that it needs a lot of fine-tuning, but we'll look at what else is in our gappers list and anything else that might be showing some signs of life as we get prepared for our market open. Let me go ahead and get over to our webinars right over here.
All right. Don't forget about every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Back to the original time that we used to do it a few months ago. Carlos is going to be doing onboarding technology that's open to all membership categories, even trial members. If you're in here for a week, be sure to check that out on Monday evening, get you set up. Then Tuesday, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, my man Artie talking about options and day trading. And then next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m., Andrew's going to be talking about risk management strategy. Mike is going to be doing Psychology 101 tomorrow night, 8 p.m., how to set up a psychology training plan, excuse me. I can never read that properly. And then next week, Randy Howell, developing your hidden strengths to transform your trading. Thursday, we've got mentorship, John at 11, Ed at 4. He will have some after hours earnings to trade as well. During that time, and then Thor at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget about StockTradingSimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. Just go to StockTradingSimulator.com, sign up, and you can use that simulator for free. Speaking of that intro membership, if you go to BarebullTraders.com, scroll down about halfway down the homepage, you will see the membership table. If you'd like to give the room a try, where we continue on all day, just do that intro membership. Use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off of the normal $39 rate. It does not recur. It's a one-time payment. It cancels after a week, after which you have to go choose another membership category. And Read 50 still in effect, half off the Elite annual membership and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, excellent. Nora, give me just 1 second. I got to turn up the AC. It looks like it's going to be a hot day here. I haven't checked what it is, but this room is getting hot pretty quickly.
I don't want to hear it. It's supposed to be 107 here today. Hey, Nate, that's great to hear. Thank you. It's a dry heat. Did anybody trade Google yesterday? Was it any good? I suspect it's not going to be the best intraday trader, but I could be wrong.
All right. Yeah, I know you do not want to hear about anything in regards to heat.
No, it's ridiculous.
I know. I should not be complaining. I agree 100%. But what happens is, especially probably for you, we got these computers running, and man, they just can throw off heat sometimes, especially when you're trading, when you're streaming. All right, guys, let's look at our watch list. At the moment, we have Mara, which actually looks pretty good, traded very well yesterday. We have Nvidia, which is also wow, Nvidia. Look at this, breaking out of 163.90. I mean 163.60. Man, this is gonna be a good one today, guys. This thing wants to go. Here we have AMD as well, breaking out nicely, as you said. Norm, these two trading well together at the moment. BA, we'll have to wait for the market open to see the action. Usually they don't put in.
It's noisy.
Most
of it, unless it has news, big news, it's not going to run until it hits the market open with that. But
did you guys see the? I was watching the air show, man. These aircrafts are incredible. They had like the 777. They had a takeoff that almost looked like a jet. I was like,
well, it is a jet.
What? Well, it is a jet, but like a fighter jet, like a fighter jet, to be more specific.
Yeah,
it was just insane. It would be nice to one day have a takeoff like that of Newark. That would be interesting. With some passengers.
They try not to do that with a lot of passengers on there. They don't want everybody losing their lunch.
Oh man,
it ruins their beautiful new plane very quickly when everybody gets sick.
Oh yeah. AMC here, guys, breaking out as well of 2.2. We'll see how the action comes in on that one. So again, not a whole lot that I like right now, but not bad. So too early to go to levels, guys. If you have any questions, we can answer them now. If you have something that looks like, okay, this might be in play today, we can look at it, but it's okay to have a small list, right? We don't have to go crazy. I'm looking for things here. LPX hitting our gappers list. Ooh, that is just... This, man, you want to talk about garbage? What's the garbage thing? Let's get the garbage thing out here. Look at this, man. What is this? I mean, it's just nonsense here. So, again, be very careful on something like that. All right, let's take a look at it. The garbage doesn't want to go away here. All right, there we go. Now, let's look at. I had another one on here as well. No, that's it. Just LPX. So, nothing happening there.
You got. AMC hit the list. I don't think it was on there when we mentioned it earlier, but now you got Plug.
Oh, Plug. There it is. Plug. Plug up 2.1. Not looking great right now. I mean, this was their day right here. This gap down when they had the news. This was their day. Yesterday they traded well. I just don't know how much action you're going to get to the upside on Plug here, right? I mean, the catalyst has not changed. They haven't gotten positive news out of this, but either way, I think it can be a good possible.
Could be, considering the quality of the rest of the list.
Yeah, I mean, Mario's on top of our list, guys. I mean, that shows what kind of list we have today. Thoughts on Netflix before earnings this afternoon, Anthony? I usually love them right after earnings, so that tomorrow I think they'll be heavily in play.
Yeah, this evening and tomorrow.
Yeah, today I think you're just going to get some chop unless people are trying to gamble on expecting what the earnings are going to be, which they shouldn't, because, man, this thing got killed in April, and I don't see how it's going to get better this time around. So we'll see. Tomorrow this will be in play for us. We'll have our chance to take a shot at that. But I think today's just going to get a lot of guessing work here. And it's just not worth it at times to be involved in that when it's not really in play, right? You could get stuck and get stopped out plenty of times if something's not really showing any action. Some of our moderators already with their list. Mike is looking at BA, Nvidia, and MU. Mike,
you have a little premature.
MU on your list? What we got going on here? Mike must know something we don't, because MU is not all that active. But the semis, is this active with the semis too, Norm, on that news or no?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
I mean, it will be, but I don't know that it's the best of the options, but it'll be part of that.
Yep, agree. Right, what else here? Like the weekly level R3. Okay. All right, that makes sense. I was looking at the big picture there. Nice. Okay, very good. We have Apple. Didn't we add Apple? I thought we did. You know what? We looked at it and I forgot to put it on the list. But yeah, Apple's one we're going to watch today.
Definitely got volume.
Yeah. 1.2 million. We did look at it. Thanks for reminding me, Chris MC here. No, not Chris, Allen. Yeah, definitely on the list as well. Allo, serious look at that jump. Allo, let's see here. Allo, well, come on, Chris, what are you doing to me? This is horrible. This is not looking good at all.
He's back at it.
Yeah, he is. Okay, guys, you know what? Let's do levels. This is what we have. It's not bad, actually. If you look at it, it's a small list, but there's some really good ones here. NVIDIA and AMD look good. BA's got a lot of potential. Mara is actually looking great, traded well yesterday. Yeah, let's get to some levels. Let's start with Mara here, guys. Great volume, looking very nice this morning. Had a beautiful day yesterday. A great overall intraday trading. And you can see that here, obviously. Look at the difference when they trade heavy volume, right? We need stocks to trade good volume. Normally, they've been trading this is around 17, 14. I don't recall watching it this day here. But either way, here, 49 million shares traded, and we did see how great that traded yesterday. So hopefully that can continue. Already this morning, 607,000, which is more than what we've seen with them. They've been stuck like at a 200,000, right? So 607 is pretty nice. Let's hope that that can get going. I'm gonna remove some levels from yesterday's that are kind of in the way. For example, it's 972 now. It's now the low of the previous day close, so we don't need that there. We'll get rid of that. Shift here, and that's gone. And then 934 low of the pre-market at the moment. And towards the top, we do have 1056 is a good one here as well, high of the pre-market. So zooming out here to the left, towards the bottom, clearly you do not need to do anything. You're all set down there. You have the highs from yesterday. Look at the range yesterday, how nice that was. From $8 all the way to 11. So that was really, really good there. And then was it Megan? Did Megan take that trade yesterday? I think it was her that posted it on Twitter. 1193, another great level here for Mara today. If we can get going, got a little bit of a gap down there. If we can close that, that would be nice. So let's see if we can get above 11 again on Mara. So seeing a little positive sign. There's some other ones on there too, guys. You have Coin, you have Mara. I'm sorry, Coin and Riot. So you can look at either one of those. I think Mara looks the best today. Maybe Coin a second favorite if they can get some volume here. Right now, pretty light on the volume for the most part. Next on the list, we have NVIDIA. NVIDIA this morning above 163.60. That was the high of the pre-market at a few minutes ago. We do have some levels, but let's redo them because I see some are overlapping levels that we have now in our pre-market. So towards the bottom, pretty good there. Highs and lows last two trading days. Previous day close, good level there as well. That is right at the low of your pre-market also. So you got a nice level here. That was good resistance in the past. In the beginning of July, we couldn't get above that. Came back down here. We're right at it again. We broke out of that yesterday. And then sitting above this here. So now we're kind of going to the second range, right? The second range on this thing has been between 173-ish or so and 160, this previous day close line. So I'm hoping that we can stay above that and looking really good this morning. Our high of our pre-market slamming at 164.25. So we'll mark that there. And that's a good one because if you look at the daily to the left, you see a lot of action happening around here. A lot of days, opening, closing right around this area. So that's a good one to mark down, even if the pre-market high becomes something higher, which it looks like it's going to be. Then above that, we got a level at 173.15 on the daily. And I think you're pretty much set there. If we can get above 170, 173, it's going to be a good one. So that's NVIDIA, guys. A lot of action this morning. AMD also trying to get going as well. Pre-market action, 500,000. Volume is looking good. Towards the bottom, guys, plenty of stuff. Your highs and lows from the last two trading days. You got the previous day close here as well. Just a whole lot happening there. I'm going to mark down the high of the pre-market now, which is sitting at 82.48. So we'll do that there. And then if we go to the left here, high of the pre-market does have a couple of touches. This cable's in the way. It's messing up my mouse. There we go. Not a huge level, right? It's not like this one over here. This one is nice. Got a lot of days, closing right on there. And we always get the questions, where do you put your levels? Do you want to put it at the opening and close of the body or the wicks? It depends, right? On something like this, you can easily do both. Right, you could definitely do it here because you got a 1, 2, 3 days, opening right at that high of the pre-market from yesterday, right? So what is this? We're looking at 84.51, right? So yeah, you can mark that as a level because it's just so many touches on there, and you can also mark this wick here because this wick is being confirmed by several days on here as well. You have. If we mark that down, you can see here, well, let's go back a little bit. Support happening here, this day opening right over here. You got this wick, of course, which is the one we're talking about. And then you got some more support and resistance here as well. So this 86.31 I mean, it has tons of action around it, right? So you can do both on a candle like this where the wicks are so far. Where they're a little bit closer at times, these levels are in area, so you just can mark down the area. You can just pick one that's closer. I tend to pick the one that's closer to the price action, right? So let's say you have a lot of touches and you have to pick between the close and the open and the wick. I would normally pick the one that's closer to the price action, right? That's just the way I'm doing that personally. But overall, it's an area. Can it hit the wick? Of course. Can it bounce off of this? Of course, right? These are not set levels, so be very mindful of that. So just a little bit of information there for our new viewers. I know our old members, you guys know about this like the back of your hand already. Here is BA today. So BA, we'll wait to see what the intraday action is going to bring on it. Right now, looking a little light. Actually, not too bad. 120 for BA is pretty good. High of the pre-market is 150, and the low is sitting at 148.70, 150.96 by the way, and 148.70 towards the low. And then we have tons of support down here. So we're breaking out on this daily. Had a really good day yesterday as far as the gap up, not so much in the sell-off, but the sell-off this provide some opportunities as well. I see some of you guys over on YouTube throwing out some tickers. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at those. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up as we continue to build our likes here. Sitting at 185. We would love to get to 400. That is our daily goal on this show, so help us get there. 161.23, another great level here. And then you have this one here, which is, what is this? The high from the last trading day? That's a good one too, because you got a lot of action happening there on the daily. Let's go back. What is that? That's being marked by the high of yesterday, 155. So that is BA, guys. AMC is still trying to get above this 1695. So still trying to slam against that here. Let's see, what is that? That's the high from yesterday, right to the T right there. That's the high from yesterday being marked by this line. So that's good. And you can also see here, you had tons of action on that 1695. Just go to the left and look at all the stuff you had here. Huge support, a little bit of resistance, but again, the support that you had there was incredible. And now that support is becoming resistance for this stock as it continues to again just bang his head against this thing, trying to get above that. But if you notice, you are getting higher, not with a whole lot of volume, but you are getting higher lows here. So it is setting up nicely for a potential breakout. And man, we know how AMC can get going. So hold on to your seats for that one and be ready to go if you're looking to take an opportunity or a breakout on that trade. Last but not least, Apple on my list, 1.3 million shares traded. It almost broke. It was a flat pretty much here. Did get a little breakout. Now it's starting to kind of build some volume. Let's see if this thing can get going. As far as levels on the daily, you're stuck between some of the highs and lows right now. Previous day close towards the bottom there. High of the pre-market, 148. We'll mark that down as well. But slightly above that, you do have a nice level. This is where you're seeing a lot of touches right over here. That's going to be, I believe, 148.10 or so. But right there, you got tons of stuff in that area. So let's see what happens if we do decide to go long. Towards the short side, if we break down, we're breaking down from some good support as well, which is sitting at 146.65. So again, we're in an interesting area when it comes to Apple. Let's see where that goes. Obviously not great news yesterday, as Norm was mentioning, that they kind of reported there. That could have been what it kind of brought down some of these NASDAQ tickers, right? Some of these tech tickers. 145.43 is good, and 144.43 also towards the bottom here. Good levels on the daily in case we do decide to break down. So that is Apple, my friends. We do have IBM here, which I don't expect great trading out of, but I haven't seen IBM trade when it's been in play in a very long time. So I have it here on my list, and we'll see if there's any opportunities on how it trades today. Plug, for the most part, a nice gap up of 2%. Yesterday was okay. I had a nice little pop and then a nice sell-off. So kind of did this yesterday, although you don't see it here in the candle. It actually did it very clean. I'm just not sure how much upside of strength they have here to get above 17. I think we might just get into some choppy area, but so we have it as possible, right? There's something can happen there. Jared, AMC is going. Did it break out? There it is. I knew it. This thing, man, it was just setting up nicely. It was just setting up real nice here. So 17. Let's see if the volume starts pouring in here, which I expect it's going to. I mean, that technical setup there was just so clear. of that 1695. The daily shows a lot of support on here as far as it being a level. Look at the resistance you're breaking out of. Sorry, not down here. The support you're breaking out of there. So that became resistance now. The next one's going to be this one if we can get there. This 1861. But yeah, let's see if we can get going. So this candle is the breakout, which is very important. You're seeing a lot of volume. Are people going to buy into this? Are we going to buy into this and get going to 1861? This will be fun today. AMC became just very, very interesting right now. All right, see, moderators are coming up with their list. A couple of things on there. So that is looking good. Anything else, guys? What's the news on AMC? There might not be any news, right, Jared? This might just be, memeing. That's it. Meme stock. I don't think for these kind of stock, they don't need to have news, right? They just need a couple of people to say, hey, let's go long here. And we've seen that with AMC. We've seen that with GameStops and other tickers as well. That just get going. So, but I have not looked at the news. Let me look. Was this on my Oracle here? No, I don't think I saw AMC when I read through this. No, I don't see anything on AMC. At least earlier on this morning, AMC was not on this list here. So, no, I don't see AMC. 1607. This thing is going to be ripping here. Look at the volume, guys. 91,000 in the last 5 minutes. So we'll see. Yeah, Jerry, that's it. Doesn't need anything, just more buyers than sellers, and that's what's happening right now. And the type of the buyers that like AMC, they love that action there. This right here, this is like they're salivating over this right now. This is their type of play, and yeah, this thing is gonna rip nicely here. CCL on secondary. Yeah. Well, it's starting to move here. It's starting to move a little bit. Yeah, so it could be nice. If you can break out of some of these levels, yeah, that could be nice. I just think the action has been so weird on CCL lately. I just think they have no reason to bounce back up at the moment. There just hasn't been anything positive on there, so we'll see. Is GME now following suit as well? Oh, it's going to be one of those days, huh? So GME also are getting a little bit of action here. Just broke out of 149 to 150. But needs more volume, guys. I mean, 27,000. It needs more volume. But I agree with you, Jared. This might get the volume closer to the open. All right, 9:10, guys. Let's go over our moderators list. I got a couple that are out with their list finalized already. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's go right over. Let me resize this. Guys, as I resize this, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. Did we hit our goal? Not yet. 233. So we got 5 minutes to hit that goal. If you could help us, that would be very nice. All right, let's take a look at our moderators list this morning. We have, starting with Mike. So Mike is looking at BS I mentioned earlier, NVIDIA, and MU. He likes the weekly S3 on this. So he's got a real high level view on MU. Not a whole lot going on right now, but if that can get going, and today could be the day because you got the semis are active, right? So good stuff there, Mike. Susan looking at Coin, Mara, NVIDIA, and BA. Secondary list, AMD, Tesla, Apple, and the pivot bot alerts. Thor will be looking at IBM, Bank of America, AMC, CVS, BA, and pivot alert bots as well. Peter, no IPOs, no SPACs for today. His list, AMD, NVIDIA, IBM, Netflix, J&J, and Tesla this morning. Megan will be looking at the Qs, Tesla, and PayPal. Megan, you've been liking PayPal a lot lately in the last couple of days. So we'll gotta see what's going on there. Make sure we're not missing out on anything. Jared is looking at AMC, GameStop, AMD, Netflix, and secondary list, IBM and Tesla today. Dima will be looking at AMD, Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. So if you go through the list of the moderators, you can see how similar it is, right? You have Thor and maybe Megan. They have a couple that the rest of the team doesn't have, but for the most part, very similar tickers on what we're watching that is in play. Again, it's that type of morning where there's not a whole lot of selections just yet. This gappers list is going to continue to grow here. Let's take a quick look if there's anything that we haven't looked at yet. WY, what is this? Let's look at this WY thing here. Oh, that's ugly. Yeah, that WY doesn't look good at all. So not liking anything I'm seeing here. and Affirm on the list, making its way up to 3.2 here. So that's getting a little bit of a bounce too. Every time I look at the stock, I can't believe that this thing was sitting at was it like 180? Yeah, 180, and we're down 24 bucks. I mean, this is lower than they were before the pandemic, or no? But they were not even open though. Yes, they were open. Yeah. This is crazy. No, they weren't open actually. Yeah, so this is your all-time low. So this is a all-time low here. They opened up around 110, got down to 60, back to 180, and back down. Man, the swing on this thing, just wild. And then they're not an old stock. It's just opened up, right? These guys are, at least just went public, right? They haven't been around for a long time. All right, so we were looking at our gappers list. Anything else here that looks great? Oh, this list is growing really fast. Is the SPY pushing up here? Yeah, that's what it is. So this list is going to get a little bit messy now with just all kinds of stuff coming up here that's not really in play. SPY is doing good. Man, can we stay above 390 today? Can we hit that and stay above that? We've been this is the big range, right, that we've been kind of stuck in back and forth, just sideways action. This will be nice if we can get above that 390 and stay above that. We can really get some stuff going, start closing some of these gaps we had here will be nice. Let's see. Gonna be an interesting day today. APLSE, I looked at that APLS, man. It looked messy. It looked real messy. Be careful with this. I don't know how you would trade this. The spread is horrible. It's moving very wild. It is a 25%, but it's a messy 25%, man. So again, just be careful if this is on your list. I think you can find better opportunities. And again, stocks like this, they can move from 55, to 52, 51 in a matter of seconds, very, very easily. So it's hard to manage your risk, and at times it can just gap down. That's the worst part. You can manage the risk by having a hard stop, but if something gaps down through your stop, that could be a problem. And when they're thinly traded like that, that's not difficult to do, right? It's not going to happen on AMD. It's not going to happen on NVIDIA. It's not going to happen on a stock that trades heavy volume, has great volatility. And as we were talking about that, look at NVIDIA go here, guys, above 64.26. Man, this thing is on fire today. AMD, man, oh man, we're going to have a good morning, I think. I think it's going to be a great morning. All right, guys, we are all set. Moderator's list is in. Let's look at PayPal. Megan's been looking at that one lately. PayPal here in the daily looks good, so I see what she's looking at there for a possible breakout. Yeah, it could be exciting. PayPal's another one that doesn't do a great pre-market activity. You got to wait for the market open for it to get going. So, all right, guys, we are all set. Thank you so much for joining the pre-market prep. Sitting at 299, 843 likes. Any way we can get 101, that's a lot. Is that asking too much in the next 1 minute? It might be. But if you do have it in you, we appreciate it very, very much. Tonight, we're having our strategy class. And who's scheduled for tonight? Let me go into, I forgot who's scheduled for tonight. I think is it Artie? I think it's Artie, man. Artie's a great presenter, so don't miss that. He already puts in a lot of work on his presentations. You can tell the quality of the presentation and the information being shared. Yeah, there's a lot of work being done there. Here it is, guys. So we have introduction to options and day trading, and he's a great options trader. So don't miss that tonight at 8 p.m. for our elite members in the webinar room. So I'll see you there. Definitely do not miss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, Artie is just incredible. So excellent, guys. We're all set. No other moderators with their list. Let's wait for Brian. Should we stick around and wait for Brian? Let's do that. Let's wait for Brian, see what his list looks like, and then we'll switch it over for him to take over and go live here. And that will give us a little more time aside buy time and stalling to get 13 more likes to hit our goal. That's not bad. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys very much. While we are doing this, here's what the room looks like, guys. For those that are brand new, if you're joining us in our room for the first time in our stream over on YouTube, this is our moderators list. All of our announcements are happening here for the community. We have our gappers list here, and this thing lights up like a Christmas tree at the market open. My favorite scanners, these two right here, guys. 1 and 2. Turbo breakup and turbo breakdown are incredible scanners. So I'm looking at those for possible opportunities on the 5-minute opening range breakup. There might be something that's not on my list that's getting heavy volume. This is where I'm paying attention to, right? So then you got some really good ones here. High FD breakout. The key thing with these scanners, as we wait for Brian. Brian, if you hear me talking, don't hesitate. Just cut me off because I'll keep going. The key thing with scanners, guys, you have to understand that not everything that pops up in here is tradable, right? You still have to follow your trade book, right? So you look at the scanners for possible opportunities. You go back to your trade book and you say, okay, is there something here I can trade? Because when I started out and I was having a rough day and my stock were doing crap, I will go right to the scanner, see, okay, what's moving to try to make money, right? That was the mentality. And I'll pick some reversal because this candle say, hey, this thing is breaking down 5 candles and it's going to reverse now. And I'll get stopped out over and over and over again. Right? So don't do that, right? Take the information, go back to your trade book and be very disciplined, right? Very important. Again, when you're new, we make these type of mistakes. It just happens, but you just got to make sure to make those changes. All right, the man is ready to go. Brian, IBM, NVIDIA, AMD, NCR, and Tesla on his list. This is going to be a good day, guys. A really good day. I like the way this is setting up. We'll take one last look at our Tesla here. I'm not a Tesla, our NVIDIA. NVIDIA here looking really nice, AMD looking good, and even Mara, guys, looking decent today. So we're setting up for a really good day, guys. Take care, trade safe. What's the turbo break scanner? Oh, okay, so the turbo breakdown scanner, what it does, it identifies stocks that are getting heavy volume within a very short period of time. So the turbo breakup, turbo breakdown, obviously break up if something's breaking up with heavy volume. And with the breakdown, same thing. If they're breaking down with heavy volume, usually you will see one ticker populate. But if you see the ticker come up many times over and over and over again, that's a ticker that I would look to. Okay. All right, Brian is on the mic, guys. Take care, trade safe. Thank you for the 417 likes. Appreciate you guys very, very much over on YouTube. We will see you later tonight for the strategy class at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and also the closing bell 3:30 p.m. I'll see you in chat there. Take care, guys.